Hello and welcome. Today we'll be playing Super Mario Odyssey once again. We'll be doing an any percent speedrun. I can't remember if this is the same attempt number as last time. I feel like it probably is, so I'm just going to bump that up. Been practicing for the week. Practice hasn't been going exquisitely, but it hasn't been going terribly, and hopefully it was an opportunity for me to learn, and today I'll be able to capitalize on that opportunity and prevent some mistakes and take some optimizations. So without too much further ado, we can just go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up a new save file here and get started on this run. So time will start when I hit start, believe it or not. 3, 2, 1. And we're going. So I was just looking through my personal best compared to all my golds, and my personal best only holds about 3 splits, I think, golds. The rest I've gotten different golds since I've started streaming, which is I guess nice that I have so much optimization on my personal best. My personal best is like a 119, whereas my sum of best, as you can see, is a 117.04. So that means I have a lot of room for growth. And I'm hoping to sort of, make some of those changes happen today. So I messed up the jump a little bit coming over to the bridge, but we've got a pretty good setup on the bridge, where we will be going into, I suppose, a sub area for Cascade Kingdom here, where we learn the basics of how to capture in Super Mario Odyssey. Gonna miss a motion control to get the cap, but we are moving up in the world quickly enough. It's a relatively short sub area, basically just meant to teach you the basics of capturing in the game, where you capture this frog and have to make a whole bunch of jumps up these tall platforms. Oops, gonna miss the roll out of here, but we leave quickly enough. Over here we're doing right side of the tower because left side is pretty optimized and difficult. Our first boss fight is going to be against Topper. See if we can get the fast strat. We can. Slightly suboptimal hat throws, but still pretty good Topper fight. Always excited when I can get the fast strat. We're going to be capping this wire here and moving on to Cascade Kingdom. The first real kingdom, I suppose. It is where we will collect our first moon among 4 other moons, and where we will be unlocking the Odyssey, the namesake spaceship, I guess. We're going to save about 1/10 of a second, probably, on my personal best, which is one of those splits, I think, that I haven't improved upon since I started streaming, so that's pretty exciting. It's like this and like Metro. Oops, gonna miss that jump a little bit. Prefer to triple jump up here. But, what we got was fast enough. We're gonna collect this first moon after breaking open this rock with this chain chomp. We're gonna watch this lovely cutscene. There is a strategy where you skip this first moon by making a way across the bridge without breaking the rock with the chain chomp. Is a pretty difficult strategy to try and employ, and at this stage in my speedrunning, I'm not currently employing it. So we collect the first moon and travel across the bridge normally to start this cutscene here, where Cappy talks about the Odyssey and tells us to throw the cap on that globe, which for now we will be not doing. In favor of coming up here and capturing this Tyrannosaurus Rex, otherwise known as the Dino, so that we can try and employ Dino Skip to quickly enter the boss arena for Madame Brutal. This is the second boss fight in the game, but the first, I suppose, boss fight, where the Brutals generally act as kind of mini-bosses almost. And so all that this boss fight really entails is 3 times in classic Mario format. We will have to capture this golden chain chomp and run it away from her to fling back at her and cause some damage. We have to do that 3 times, and then the boss fight will be complete. There are some fast strats you can employ that involve not taking damage and involve capturing the chain chomp a little faster and a little farther away from her to save a bunch of time in this boss fight. But using the strategies that I generally employ, we're able to still get a very decent time. After defeating her, we're just going to come up and dive into this moon, almost missing it on the right side. This multi-moon will serve as the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th moons that we need to leave Cascade Kingdom. There is one more we need to power up the Odyssey before we leave, and we will be getting that after this teleport. So we come back down in front of what is going to be the Odyssey. Cappy once again tells us to throw him on that globe, and once again we're going to ignore him for the moment. We're going to run over to the side here and jump up onto this pillar here so that we can collect this moon, which will be our 5th and final moon we need. As you can see in the counter in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, those will, for each kingdom, always track the number of moons we need in order to leave the kingdom. We are taking a route so that we only collect as many moons as we need in each kingdom. That saves as much time as possible. Let me try and focus at least a little bit so I can get ready for the split. I think this is just a normal split. I believe the screen will wipe after the Odyssey is restored here. And we get another gold on Cascade Kingdom. That's perfect. A start to a run like this is rather worrying. It certainly gives me a lot of runway to screw something up, but I'm going to try and ride that excitement as long as possible into Sand Kingdom. Sand Kingdom is considerably longer than Cascade Kingdom. We will need, I believe, 16 moons total in order to leave Sand Kingdom. So we're just going to try and, in speedrun format, do that as quickly as possible. This kingdom starts off with some cutscenes and some dialogue, much like many of the kingdoms here in Super Mario Odyssey. After which we will be rolling down this hill toward the town and collecting our first moons before making a hasty exit from the town. Okay, so our first moon is going to be right here in this tower, and the normal strategy is to run up and collect the moon that is being carried by this bird. I have found personally that I am really, really bad at catching that bird, so I instead choose to go directly into the pipe for this moon and then make up that moon that I missed from the bird later on in the run. Doing specifically the Note Moon as the final moon in the Oasis. I've also tried the bird right there, but, limited success there, too. Cool. Second try there on the old hilltop here, the Dune, starring Timothée Chalamet. And we come over here and try to perform a fancy little jump on top of here. Oops. Panic a little bit and lose it, unfortunately. So we're just going to try that again. The goal is to cap jump and then dive onto the pillar to land right here so that you can cap jump up here and collect this moon on top of this arch. This stone archway, one might call it. After that, we're going to come over here, cap jump to hopefully go directly over the pillar, but grabbing it and climbing up is totally acceptable. We're going to come over here and collect this moon in this alcove and make a hasty exit to climb up here. There is a strategy involving climbing that icicle directly. I found that I'm pretty poor at that strategy, so instead I just walk over and come up a much more normal way, still skipping that 2D section, but not employing quite as quick of a strategy as climbing up that icicle. But either way, we're going to break this crate and then return over here by the bullet bill dispenser and line up our camera so that we can come over here to this pillar over here. Almost whiff the jump, but save it and make our way over here where we will be collecting the moon amidst a bunch of luggage. Oop, miss the dune fall a little bit so that my angle gets thrown off, but quickly enough come over here to the moon. Almost mistimed the ground pound to miss the moon, but we are going to be okay for the moment. After which we will be coming over to the Sphinx to get the Sphinx Moon, and the first answer is the correct answer, which means you can just mash A, very luckily, because anything I don't have to think about while I'm playing is perfect. So we're going to be collecting a bunch of coins in the Sphinx room here, because that will allow us to buy 2 moons over the course of this route, one in Wooded Kingdom and one in Snow Kingdom. For that we will need 200 coins, but not only are there some scripted places to die in this route, I also like to have a little bit of security, where I can die and it not make a meaningful difference to the route, meaning I will still have 200 coins at any time. So I choose to get some extra moons, or extra coins, largely here in Sand Kingdom, just to avoid any stress later on from not having enough coins to purchase any moons that are required for the run. Those largely come in the form of the Sphinx Room. Oops, missed the bullet bill, so we're going to lose just a bit of time. The Sphinx Room, where we collect the bulk of our coins. And coming up right here, where we will be opening an extra chest next to the moon by the Jaxi. Almost whiffing, of course. Which gives us an extra 50 coins, which gives us a considerable safety net for pretty much the rest of the run. We will not have to worry about coins. After a quick bonk on that icicle for good luck, we'll come over here to the cactus to move it and collect the moon. It was hiding very rudely from us. From here, we only have 2 moons left. Normally, you'd come over here to get where the birds gather, and then that would be your final moon. As stated previously, I have no luck in general for the hitting the bird out of the air. Well, I might take a quick look to see if the bird's in the air right now, and they are not. So we're just going to come over here and get the Notes Moon and whiff the tree a couple times. Oh no. And we have gotten it easy enough. Hopefully I've jumped directly into the moon space. We have. And hopefully I land directly on top of the tree so I can warp over to the Odyssey without having to worry about moving Mario around. And we will be able to leave Sand Kingdom. As you can see in the upper left corner, we have collected all of the moons we need, which I think was 16. I didn't count. And we are able to leave. So we will worry about the split shortly here. And then we will be moving on to Wooded Kingdom. Wait for the Brutals to leave since we did not actually take care of them. Lost about 2 seconds from my personal best, which is totally okay for me. Oh, we're moving on to Lake Kingdom. I always forget about Lake Kingdom. It's so short. Apologies for the fake news from just a second ago. I was not looking at my splits and completely forgot about a kingdom in the game. Lake Kingdom, as you can see from the splits, is extremely short, provided we play it well. So oftentimes I just kind of forget about it, unfortunately, but nonetheless, you still have to complete it in order to finish the game. So we come over here in Lake Kingdom, and we're gonna go over to this little corner where we can see a moon hiding for us. After which point, we're going to do a little bit of a triple jump to get up on this platform. Oop. Well, I would try to do a triple jump, but apparently I turned too much before I jumped. Twice in a row. There we go. Easy peasy, first try. And we will come up here, cap jump, and capture this zipper to open this passageway and collect a moon up here. After this point, we will be diving into the water to capture a fish and get about 3 more moons. Pretty good timing with the fish swimming in front of the moon. Hopefully Dory is not so far away from us so that we can get this moon on her back. I believe Dory is a female giant whale creature. I cannot be positive, but we roll forward regardless. We will be encountering Dory for 1 more moon inside of Seaside Kingdom. Let's reorient the camera and get ready to swim up here. I will be taking a bit of an extra moment here to line up the Cheep Cheep. Oops. Didn't take enough of an extra moment, it would seem, but regardless, we're hitting this for safety before we come into the Rango fights. I hit it for safety because my Rango fights have been pretty appalling recently. So the fast rats, as you can see here, we backflip onto him and then sort of take advantage of his variable hitbox during that phase of the fight to hit him as quickly as possible when he is damageable again. The Rango fight was performed pretty well. I'm very happy about that. And we will be leaving Lake Kingdom, what seems to be pretty well on pace. Granted, it's, we've got 1 minute and 9 seconds until we hit personal best pace, but a lot of that time is taken up with, these cutscenes, which are unskippable largely. And then we have to throw Cappy on that sweet, sweet globe and make our way out of the kingdom. I'm gonna get my split finger ready as we move on to Wooded for Reals this time. Oh, goodness. Alright, shouldn't take both hands off the controller. Bad habit, like to get drinks during the breaks, and sometimes I need to mash the A button. Alright, we look like we've saved actually almost 13 seconds from my personal best pace in Lake Kingdom, which I will definitely take. Or 12 seconds. 12 seconds. Math is hard. I'm glad it does the math for me. So that's pretty exciting. But as you can see, it's still not a gold, so my Lake Kingdom in my personal best must just be pretty trash. Which, hey, you know what? I'll take that. Having trash in a personal best means more room for optimizations later. So we're going to pick up this rock, hopefully run over and hit the bunny with it. And then, nice. Grab these 2 moons to start Wooded Kingdom. Collect the bunny moon here. And run over and go to the shop to buy the first moon that we will be purchasing over the course of this route. Gotta make sure not to buy the heart. 3 moons down, like what, 17 to go? I think there's, no, I don't think there's 20. There's 16 also, okay. So we're gonna be making our way up the waterfall and over to this fire bro. We're gonna ignore that fire bro and instead come up here so that we can do a fancy jump to come up here to this nut. We break the nut with some quick backflips, which I think are fast. Get some good timing on the cap throw and that roll to be able to hit that switch appropriately fast. We're gonna roll into this nut to save a little bit of time over hitting it with our hat multiple times to let it spawn. Then we're going to jump around the corner to these uproots and hop into the red maze very briefly. Often utilizing the motion control ability for these uproots to uproot a little bit faster than it would normally if you were just using the buttons to control it. We're going to long jump over this gap here and hit the flag before jumping back to the water on this side of the map. We do this so that we can save a little bit of time instead of having to perform an incredibly tricky jump. We're just going to do this after collecting the flag. Oops. So that we can not have to do a tricky jump, which is a little more inside of my abilities at this point in my speed running sort of journey. Oops, we're gonna drop an input on the dive there, but this is one of my favorite sub-areas to take damage in because you get moons so readily, they just heal you and you can move on your merry way. So we're going to warp to that flag we hit earlier so that we can come and fight this big old baddie here. This Piranha Plant, I find it easiest to kill with a backflip. I run up to it and then backflip on top of it. There are other ways to kill it, some of which I believe are faster, but that is the way I choose to do it since I've gotten it to be very consistent in my time here. We're going to backflip up here and mash the cap throw button until we are able to break the nut and capture the moon from it without falling to the ground. Saves a little bit of extra time. We're going to come back to this moon. The coins disappeared before I was able to capture this moon, which is a benchmark I like to use to see how quickly I do that section, which means I did that section a little bit suboptimally, but I have not many complaints about it. Hey, Biscuit, not a problem. I appreciate your attendance. Your support means a lot to me. No apologies necessary for being late. We're just having a run over here, and it's going, as you can see, pretty well so far. We're gonna dive directly into this nut to save some time, again as before, having to bust it open manually. And then we're just gonna jump over here, totally neglecting the flowery bridge this time. So that we can come over here into the tower. We're going to start with a triple jump and a cap throw to get up to this section. And we're going to capture this uproot and motion control jump to get up here. This flower bridge we unfortunately cannot ignore, but we're going to be getting this moon here from this nut. Many nuts to be had. And then we're going to motion control jump up there. Looks great so far. Yeah, knocks on wood. Indeed. I've been talking about the golds I've been getting and the pace I've been having, and I tell you what, nothing but nothing like jinxing the run you're currently running, like cursing the run you're currently running. So here we are on the Speedrun fights. The strategies are very straightforward for Speedrun. We're just going to be charging at him and hitting him with our cap en route to his head, so that his hat is knocked off of his head before we land on it. We'll be fighting Spirit one more time in this run in Luncheon Kingdom, and we'll be employing the exact same strategy in that kingdom. He drops a multi-moon, which we are happy to go capture, and those 3 moons are the final 3 moons in Wooded Kingdom. Thank you, it was pretty clean. Very happily, the Speedrun fight is probably the easiest brutal fight, at least for me. So I'm always happy to have a good Speedrun fight. It's going to teleport us back to the Odyssey, which is extremely convenient since we'll be leaving Wooded Kingdom. Oops, we're going to dive instead of throwing Cappy at that sweet, sweet globe. An input I screw up about once a run, so now that I got that one out of the way, I should be good for the rest of the run. Coming up next is Cloud Kingdom. Cappy thinks we're going to Metro Kingdom, but we're always happy to prove him wrong. Ooh, and a Gold Wooded Kingdom. It was a very clean Wooded Kingdom, so I'm pretty happy about that. Except for the bonk at the end. I mean, that wasn't as clean. But, hey, we move forward. We make some mistakes. That's just all there is to it. I'm very happy to report that my sum of bests at the beginning of this run was about a 117.03 and is now a 116.45, which means just over the course of these first 5-ish kingdoms, I have saved about 18 seconds golden bonk. Indeed. Hey, I tell you what, if I can bonk and still get a gold, I'm happy about that bonk. But right now, we're just going to focus on a Cloud Kingdom fight, utilizing motion control heavily because it causes you to throw your hands a bit faster than if you just punch using the buttons on the controller. So my arms will always hurt at the end of it, but it's always worth it. Alright, one phase left. Similar strats as before. Gotta remember to jump here. Alright. Pretty good Bowser fight. And get ready for the split at the end of this cutscene. We got a Gold Cloud Kingdom. Which is nice because Lost Kingdom is very unpredictable. So I'm very happy to have that sort of safety net going into Lost Kingdom. Because we are utilizing what is dubbed the Klepto Skip by the speedrunning community, where you make a fancy jump on top of this tree to skip our boy Klepto being able to steal Cappy. And so, if we sort of continue through the route without hitting a certain trigger for this event, we are able to avoid it completely. So we will be sort of going through the kingdom in a bit of a reverse order, which is interesting to watch if you've not seen it before. It takes some getting used to, certainly. But we're just running around and collecting some moons, having a grand time. Alright, I think I got the timing here. Alright, sweet. From here, we have to run over and land on the little platform by Klepto before jumping over to these pillars over here. Because once we trigger, we have to trigger Klepto to avoid, I guess, triggering Klepto through a hitbox later in the game, or in the kingdom. I don't know the full ins and outs of how Klepto works, but by hitting that platform, we basically make Klepto think that they've taken Cappy, so that until we die, we don't have to worry about triggering the Klepto event. Which is very handy. It allows us to collect the remaining moons that we need, and I'm gonna focus up for this upcoming moon. Sweet. So here we're going to strategically die. After we die, we will be put right back into the Odyssey. Ember MC, hello! I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I hope you're ready for some beginner Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning strategies. Gotta get the split ready here. And wipe to white. Look at that. So something terribly wrong is going to happen later in the run. Clearly, because I am very far ahead of my personal best. But you know what? Get some golds on my splits. Bring down that sum of bests very steadily. My goal for Super Mario Odyssey is to complete the game in 1 hour and 15 minutes. Right now, my sum of best is a 116.34, which means I have quite a bit of work to do. Here we are in Night Metro. This kingdom is split into 2 parts. Night Metro and then Day Metro. After you've beaten Night Metro, that's kind of it for Night Metro. You don't have to do any Night Metro stuff for the rest of the game. You only have to, once you've sort of beaten the giant Mecha Wiggler in Night Metro, you have healed this town, I suppose, from its darkness, and it becomes daytime and isn't raining terribly again, and everybody's all super happy and stuff. So this section is always a little bit interesting. The Mecha Wiggler fight is a place for great optimization, which is some difficulty, and this tower here is also a place for great optimization. So we're going to see how it goes. So we're just going to climb it as fast as possible. Oops. Throw myself off a little bit because I landed on top of a Goomba. Whoopsie. But no problems. We just wait for this platform to fall. Come over to this climbable pole, and by mashing jump as fast as possible, are able to climb it rather rapidly. As you can see here, we just get this moon from this chest, avoid these little maggot things, come up here, and jump across. And perfect. So while here, we're going to hit this flag so that we can warp back to it later, and then come up to the Mecha Wiggler fight, jumping out of the wire a bit early to approach the fight a little bit faster. We're going to dive over to this tank and try to get some good shots on this Mecha Wiggler. Missing one. There we go. So the first phase of Mecha Wiggler is complete. Mecha Wiggler is a 2... I agree. I would love it if Mecha Wiggler behaved himself. Mecha Wiggler is a 2-phase boss fight possible. Generally, I get 3-phase on it. The 2-phase requires quite a bit of advanced aiming with your shots from the tank. So it's just a bit difficult to pull off. But in attempts to, we're going to back up so we have full range on this tower and heavily utilize the motion control. We're going to shoot a couple of these balls out of the air, and as soon as the Wiggler is... we missed just one, unfortunately. So it looks like we will be aiming for a 2-phase or a 3-phase Mecha Wiggler fight, which is okay. We're gonna get Mecha Wiggler over to this wall since it's a bit smaller than that wall or that wall, and we're going to wait for it to become vulnerable again so we can hit that one remaining piece. Ooh, if I could aim. There we go. We got it. We got it before it stopped moving in third phase, which made it a pretty good 3rd phase Mecha Wiggler, which I'm pretty happy about. Generally, I try to get at least, 3rd phase. If I ever stretch any further than 3rd phase, it was a pretty bad Mecha Wiggler fight for me, and if I ever get 2 phase, it was an excellent Mecha Wiggler fight for me. That was about an average Mecha Wiggler fight, so thank you, Biscuit. Yeah, it was a pretty good 3rd phase fight. And with the defeat of the dreaded Mecha Wiggler, we liven up the place into daytime magically. I don't know if we took a nap or something, or if it was just blocking out the sun somehow. But regardless, it is now daytime, and we have a whole slew of additional moons we will need to capture. I believe there are 20 total for Metro. So we will leave once we capture that many. Crazy. Let's see if we got the strat. And we did. Oops. Bonk into this taxi. Good luck. Alright. Here's the real taxi trouble. Ooh, man. There we go. Nope, not yet. Oh, man, your boy is heavy choking right now. There we go. Woohoo! Good thing I had a minute saved on the run so far, because that was not great. But we move on, because now that section of the run is over, we can go on with the rest of the run as soon as I can land this jump. We're going to collect this garbage moon here, and then cap jump over to this, and see if we can land on the bench. Ah, very close. Very close to landing on the bench. The fortunate part about landing directly on the bench, that was weird, is if you land directly on the bench, you can use the sitting down on the bench animation to cancel your stun from landing from such a high distance. But we missed that and had some difficulty, weirdly, landing on the bench, but that's all right. We move onward. From here, we're going to warp up to the top of the tower, where we intentionally hit that checkpoint flag earlier, and we're going to run over to the garbage moon over here. Catching that, we're going to reorient the camera and get ready to dive. Oops. Barring that, we like to dive directly into the moon, but as long as we can land on this girder here, we are not too dissatisfied with it. So from here, we just want to climb on top of the tower. Where there is another moon awaiting us. And from here, we want to cap throw, dive, and cap throw and dive again to get this moon here. The second cap throw is technically optional, but I generally cap throw before I dive. It wastes a little bit of time. From here, we don't want to dive so that we can come right here and collect this moon here by ground pounding on it. From here, we want to come down here and cap throw right before we hit the ground to avoid the stun animation. In this sub area, we're going to try to throw Cappy to the side instead of forward so that we can hit that switch. And we're just going to roll over on the right side to get to this moon here. We're getting both moons in this sub area, so we are jumping over to this awning and then this awning so that we can dive over to this moon and get it. From here, there's 3 moons remaining in Metro Kingdom, and 2 of those will be musician moons. So we're gonna come over to Madam Mayor over here, Pauline herself, and talk to her to unlock the musician moons so we can start getting those. Our first one will be the drummer right here, which just you are able to talk to them and go through a dialogue with them where they will give you a moon with a lovely cutscene associated to it. After which point, you're warped inside of City Hall. So we'll be rolling out of City Hall immediately, and oops, missed up the buttons, but we roll out of City Hall, as stated, and here we will be coming over to this wire to come over to this very, very tall building in the distance. We'll be jumping on top of the Mecha Wiggler piece to collect the moon inside of it, and then going over to the basis for the final moon in Metro Kingdom. At this point, it will warp us back to City Hall after watching this cutscene, but we are able to just warp to the Odyssey after that point and complete Metro Kingdom. All right. We're going to slap Cappy on that globe and make our way over to Snow Kingdom, otherwise known as my Bane. I mention it every time I run Super Mario Odyssey, but Snow Kingdom is, for some reason, difficult for me. The sub-areas I have found to be challenging, and I guess that's that. We're going to see how it goes. Gotta get the split for Metro Kingdom. As you can see, we lost about 20 seconds on Metro Kingdom, which is fine. We did have some difficulty in Metro Kingdom. Still a good Metro. Yeah, 20 seconds over a 10-minute kingdom. I can't complain so much about that. The percentage-wise, not terrible. We're going to skip some more cutscenes and dialogues and get over to Snow Kingdom. We could have gone to Seaside Kingdom first, but we choose Snow Kingdom since you don't have to menu it all to get here. You can just choose to go here by mashing a button in the course selection screen, which is something I'm a huge fan of course. So starting out, we're going to roll over and make our way across the kingdom. Oops. Bonking for good luck before we jump down here. Climbing up this wall and talking to Captain Toad. Luckily, you don't have to wait for the snow to clear or anything. You can just talk to him, which I always find very funny, because all the particles from the snow are still in the air. From here, we're just going to, roll down and enter Cheveria. This nice little town. There's an entire subplot here with joining a, spoiler alert, joining a big old race. We're going to totally ignore that because we don't want to do it. Gonna come up here and get the entrance to Cheveria Moon before buying our second and final moon from a shop in this route. Alright, we have succeeded in talking to the correct, I guess, snow person. I don't know what this type of person is called, but snow person, big old seal person, fantastic. And we're going to leave and try a tricky jump off of this umbrella. Perfect, we have succeeded on essentially the first try. My hat got a little stuck. Cheverian? I suppose they would be. Cheverian sounds very appropriate since they live in the town of Cheveria, or the land of Cheveria? I'm not really confident where Cheveria ends and the rest of their world begins. But regardless, we're going to be entering 3 sub-areas here. The first is by far my own worst Snow Kingdom section. We're going to come over here as quickly as possible. And get this moon on top of this arch, as it would say. It may not look like an arch, but it is. Dang. We're going to miss the timing a little bit on the big old cloud dude, but... Oh, gee. We're gonna miss one little spiny Koopa by blowing them back directly into where there is no gap to be fallen into the lava below. But that's all right. Stupid spinies, indeed. It's almost like they can't think for themselves. Truly atrocious. But we're gonna pound down into this pipe. I definitely said it like that for on purpose and not because I'm panicking. And we're going to be getting the second sub-area's moons. We'll be getting both moons in this sub-area as well. The first of which requires us to amass a pile of Goombas and then come up here to this Goomba switch. Oops. If I could jump on it, that would be cool. I forget that if you don't land directly on it, you have to jump with the Goombas to get it. So we lose a second there. But hey, what is a second? We're going to come over here, and after a couple long jumps, we're going to call it a kingdom. Or no, not a kingdom, a sub-area. We still have 1 moon remaining, which we will be traveling to a previously mentioned 3rd sub-area to obtain. We're going to be trying a strat right here, which I call fast pipe, where you can long jump directly into the side of the pipe, and it will just poof you into it, and we didn't get it. If you mistime it a little bit, you bonk on the pipe. Always worth going toward if you ask me, because it feels really cool when you get it, and it saves only a little bit of time. So here we are in the 3rd sub-area. It will involve us sort of climbing up Ooh, that's not fun. So by missing this jump, we just start at the beginning of the sub area, lose a little bit of time, but nothing unsalvageable, of course. We're just gonna take 2 on these jumps here. Truth be told, I was trying a new strategy that I'm trying to use to optimize my Snow Kingdom to save a little bit of time. And I failed in completing that strategy, which involves just diving onto that platform so that I still have Cappy and everything to speed it up. But, you know, I am learning. I'm trying new strategies to get faster times, but I will not always complete them successfully. But there's still something over time I have to do in order to optimize my run. Not failure, just practice. That's exactly right. We're going to get the split ready here. And look at that. We still saved some time on the personal bests. Learning. It's all learning. It's all practice. Because you know what? They're all practice until I get my my personal bests under 115. It's all practice. All practice for that opportunity. But luckily, my personal best has an absolutely trash Snow Kingdom, which means I can still save time on Snow Kingdom even if it wasn't that good. Here in Seaside, it starts with a hard jump. Or 2, actually. Which I think I've screwed up. I did. This jump is particularly difficult for me personally. But we're just going to go for it. Missed it again. But as long as I get it within the first 3 or 4, you know, we're doing good. Got it on the 3rd try. 20 seconds or so. Nothing. Seaside Kingdom is a pretty short kingdom. That one jump is my primary concern when it comes to Seaside Kingdom. So now that's over, there's only about 1 trick that I'm a little nervous about. And we're just going to see how that one goes because it's right here. Once we come on top of this ledge here, this area is where we will be collecting a moon. Normally you have one of the water spitters in this area. Oops, and we missed it, unfortunately. We've missed it twice now and bonked and fallen. Okay, let's try this again. We got it on the 3rd try. 3rd try is the charm in this particular run of Seaside Kingdom. But we're unflappable, so we will be going on and lining up carefully for this particular... When I say lining up carefully, that was a joke. That was a joke. So this time we're... No, we're not gonna... We're just gonna wait for it to come back. And perfect. 3rd try is the charm, or so. So for all of these reasons combined, not having a perfect Seaside Kingdom, but if there's one single kingdom I can choose to not have a great time on, Seaside Kingdom is among one of the best choices because it's so short. So if I make a couple mistakes that lose a little bit of time each in Seaside Kingdom, then I'm still not doing too bad as long as, you know, I still have some success in the other kingdoms. Okay, somehow we've missed that moon. It looks like I went into it, but I must not have. So onward we go. After collecting that hidden moon, we're going to come over through this secret passageway. After a fish bonk for good luck. And after this passageway, there will only be 4 moons remaining to catch. So like I said, very short kingdom. Perfect. We're gonna find Dory over here, and she's right here. We're going to come over and catch the moon on the underside of Dory, and then our penultimate moon will be hitting each of these 3 mounds of sand with a fish ground pound. and finally the central area before coming over the edge and diving deeper to get our final moon, which will be in this secret area here. As long as I don't swim past it too many times. We're gonna fish bonk somehow, moving downward here, but hey, that's the end of Seaside Kingdom. As you can see, I'm already losing time for Seaside Kingdom, but that was to be expected. And if I was expecting it, that makes it less bad. Seaside is complete, and we'll be moving on to the Luncheon Kingdom. One of the longer kingdoms, and, you know, one of the final kingdoms. Get that split ready here. As you can see, we lost 37 seconds in Seaside, which is not perfect, but we gotta make the mistakes somewhere. And making mistakes is an integral part of learning, as previously discussed. So after a couple more cutscene skips, we come into Luncheon Kingdom. Luncheon Kingdom, much like Seaside Kingdom, starts off with a tricky jump. So we're gonna see how we do. There are two versions of this jump, essentially. I take the bit slower version of this jump because I'm not a speedrun pro yet. Alright, and we've gotten it essentially on the first try. And from here we will just jump over and roll using the motion control to roll. And then we will damage boost off the lava to come over here to this section. That was a total lie. We don't have the damage boost. I just messed up the jump. Luckily, we were able to get over here within 2 bounces, meaning we did not die. Here we have the second and final Spirit Fight, where we will be employing the same strategies as before. We will jump onto Spirit as he comes over to us in his hat, and then we will just throw our hat and then miss landing on him and take damage somehow. And then try and do that a couple times more, except a little more efficiently. Oops, and somehow move toward him and have the camera screw up. And that's the Spirit Fight. Easy peasy. Like I've said, Spirit is probably the easiest brutal. So we were able to recover from the mistakes pretty fine and complete the fight and catch this moon. Yeah, it was all camera orientation. The spin of the camera as soon as you enter the arena, you know, obviously it like throws off the direction you have to, you know, aim. Yeah, that's bullcrap a little bit, but hey, man, something to blame it on that isn't myself. Take that any day, right? So we come into this sub area for only the moon around the corner here. We will not be taking any other moons in the sub area, which there is of course only one more moon in the sub area. But we don't care about it. We're just gonna leave, and then we're gonna get this jump here. We didn't quite get the jump, but hey, we made it up. So we're gonna dive and then cap jump over here. And then jump up onto this pillar. Ooh. Almost misorient my ground pound here, but we still got this moon up here on the cliff, overlooking this bunch of ingredients. We're gonna avoid those cans because I think it lags when you hit the... Okay, wrong one. Either way, use the motion control hone in on Cappy to hit the box containing the moon so that we can just worry about coming over and collecting it afterward. We're gonna jump down and get the first and only turnip that we will be collecting the moon from. Ooh, just make it into the stew pot here, very luckily. And jump right into the space of the moon so that we can collect it as quickly as possible. That is a common strat that you have seen and one that you will see in speedruns of this game. And from here, we're going to angle the camera down when we long jump because supposedly that changes the spawn behavior of the potaboos, so that this potaboo here will spawn at the correct time for it to come around and you be able to capture it right after collecting that particular moon, which it appears to have worked for us. Oops, I have accidentally rolled instead of cap throwing, so we bonk and lose a bit of time, but that is all right. Oops. We're gonna miss a couple of the things and force ourselves to improvise just a bit, but that is okay. This sub-area, for some reason, I find to be particularly difficult, and a little bit of creative stress. Thank you! Creativity is something I pride myself on as a speedrunner of Super Mario Odyssey. Oops, we have screwed up this jump a little bit. You're supposed to face this way so that you can bounce up the wall. Improvise that though. Or no, he doesn't salute. He like points toward the camera, right? Whoa, we are flying here. Okay, thank you. Sometimes hitting the cheese blocks here is a little bit harder than other times, but hey, we made it out without too much difficulty. Last time I was practicing, I got the bean to bounce and land on the screen for this entire cutscene. It was very funny. Pan RNG sucks. It really does. Really does. I do not enjoy controlling the Pan Bros. Luckily, that is the only one you have to capture. So we are done with them for the rest of the run. From here, we throw Cappy and hone in to capture this Potaboo, quick jump, long jump, and collect this moon here from lighting the torch in the center. And from here, we have one of the easiest jumps that is still really hard for me. But we have gotten it on the first try, so I am very happy. We have slid instead of giving ourselves the space to ground pound, but we have gotten it after that fact. Ah, dang, we bonked. Okay, we're just gonna press the B button to attract the sight of this giant chicken monster, question mark? And come over and collect this multi-moon and complete our run of Luncheon Kingdom. All in all, not bad. A little rocky here and there, but ultimately nothing too much to complain about. Skip this cutscene, which I totally remembered about. And skip this cutscene before we get yelled at by Cappy again. I'm kidding, Cappy is not yelling at us. He is a good friend of ours. And throw him on that globe to leave before world peace is achieved. It's actually funny. World peace is achieved so infrequently in the Super Mario Odyssey speedrun. Any percent at least. And by world peace, I mean just completing kind of the story missions. So that nothing is threatening the kingdoms that you are currently inhabiting. Oh man. Rocky ruined, or Luncheon Kingdom, my foot, I guess, because apparently we had a pretty good, who really needs peace? Nobody? I mean, what is life without a little bit of chaos, unpredictability? You know? I mean, extremely valuable tools to have. I mean, what would life even be if you could just predict everything that was going to happen, if there was no adversaries, if there was nothing, no struggle that you were working to overcome? I mean, obviously, some people have more struggle than they deserve, which is, you know, a discussion for another day. Speaking of more struggle than they deserve, I'm joking, of course. We make our way into the Ruined Kingdom boss fight. I'm going to wait before skipping this cutscene. pausing before that triggering the cutscene when you land on this platform for some reason is always takes much longer than I expect. I've accidentally captured that heart, which is unfortunate. It means I'll just have to get a different one later on. We like those hearts because we use them to damage boost on top of the dragon to land in a more fortunate place to start collecting these pins from their head and just speed up the different phases. So, we're just going to collect this heart and go back up to full health in preparation for the next damage boost we need. And we will need, 3 health to damage boost all 3 phases. So I'll be finding a different heart this time. Luckily, there are many spread across the map, some on the left side of the stage, which, we can just collect very easily and still have plenty of time to avoid all of these psychic death rings and come over and jump on top of the dragon. Alright, pretty clean dragon fight after a rocky entrance into the fight. So we're pretty happy about it. I say this out loud to remind myself, this is the one moon that I personally vault into instead of diving into, because the moon starts up higher on the screen, and if you try to dive into it and run and dive directly into it, you miss. So that feels bad, and to avoid it, we just throw Cappy as quickly as possible to position Cappy about under the moon or right before the moon as it falls, so we can just run into it, vault up, and collect the multi-moon while it's still a bit higher in the air. And that is Ruined Kingdom. The split for Ruined Kingdom is the white screen after repairing the Odyssey, so I'll prepare my splitting fingers right here. And we did not have a gold, but we did save 10 seconds off of our personal best. So we're going into Bowser's Kingdom. Skipping a few cutscenes, taking names, chewing bubblegum, whatever that Duke Nukem thing is. And we come to certainly the most interesting kingdom in the game. It has one of the hardest fights in the Mech Fight. Hard just being the fast strats are very complex. I choose to employ sort of regular fast strats for the Mech Fight. Whoa, really flew. There are considerably faster strats for the Mech Fight, which I'm not currently employing because I do not have the skill necessary for them. Alright, miss 1 ground pound, but catch the second. All in all, not bad. I did, unfortunately, mistime this jump, so I'll have to jump into it, which only saves, like, 1/10 of a second, probably. So I'm not particularly worried about it, but it always feels cool, so, You know what? I'll have plenty of opportunities to do it, and I've already had plenty of opportunities to do it, so missing one ain't no thing. Every time we collect one of these story moons, there will be some sort of cutscene that we have to skip. And now we will be moving on to a section where we have to collect a bunch of moon pieces. The first of which is around this corner here, which we can just jump and hone Cappy in on. Before returning here. Hope that the Pokios don't get killed by the bombs. One did, but luckily there's 2 usually. Oops, that's not what I'm supposed to do. No, don't kill the Pokio! Alright, we have to improvise a little bit here. So instead of doing the normal strat where you use the Pokio to come and collect this moon, we're just gonna have to come and get it ourselves. We're going to collect this Pokio now and blast these. Kill that Pokio so it doesn't kill us. Eat or be eaten, you know? And we're going to get the first of 2 optional moons in this area. We need to collect 2 optional moons because you secretly need a specific number of moons to leave Bowser's Kingdom. And it doesn't show it to you because it tries to set up Bowser's Kingdom as the final kingdom in the game. And so if it showed you a number of moons you had to collect to, you know, progress, it might spoil to you, like I'm about to, that Bowser's Kingdom is not the final kingdom in the game. The final kingdom is in fact Moon Kingdom, which takes place after the Mech Fight in Bowser's Kingdom, where you go to face Bowser head-on for one final time. And then do some other antics that we will worry about when we get there. As you can see, I've jumped up onto the side of the castle to collect the second and final optional moon in the kingdom. That is just the route I'm currently employing. There are a couple different options you can take. Those are mine. From here, we have the 2 brutal fights of Topper and Harriet. Topper first, because I hate it more. Topper is considerably more difficult now. As you can see, I have missed his hat, whichever one he's in. There he is. Which means I missed the fast strat, but that's okay. We still get out of there without taking too much time. This Topper fight, as you can see, has a whole heck of a lot more hats than the first time you fight Topper, which just makes it a little bit more difficult. With the fast strats, it's not necessarily more difficult. Oh man, mistimed that. There we go. So Harriet Fight, very straightforward. I think it's the only time we fight Harriet in the run, in this particular run, because otherwise we normally fight her at Sand Kingdom. Oh man, what is going on today? Okay. And as you can see, the fast strats involve just hitting the bombs she shoots back at her before she has the chance to, I guess, progress any further in the phase. And without so much trouble, we have completed the Harriet Fight and move on. There's one more platforming related section before we reach the Mech Fight. The Mech Fight is very fun and involves some very interesting fast strats, which I've very much enjoyed learning. But I will focus on what's ahead of me, which is this platforming section coming up. This platforming section is a bit difficult, probably some of the most difficult platforming. I mean, it's the final kingdom, you'd expect such a thing. But not before we have to skip this cutscene. So we're just gonna come over here and dive into the next area and roll to keep speed. Ah, dang. Big disappointment there. So ideally, we would have jumped up. Like that. So we lose just a second of time, but all totally good. Oops, instead we bonk and take more damage, but hey, that's not a problem because of this flag right here, we can just heal back up to full. Catch this Pokio to come out of here. Make sure to time the motion control properly so that I'm always facing the wall when I have to be. And just jump out and in we go to the Mech Fight. We'll see how good of a Mech Fight we have. So to start, we're going to come over to the side and wait for a Pokio. There are more advanced strategies that you can employ, involve jumping up the sides of the legs, but we don't employ those because they're really hard. Shoot you bombs into the leg. Jump up a couple times. There's a bit faster of a way to jump up with Pokio, but that is a strategy I've not mastered yet. But hey, the strategy I have wastes less than a second probably, so we're good with that. We're gonna line up on top of the mech to come over here and wait for 3 steps before we jump off and hit Topperuni here. Oop, we're gonna miss a jump, which is the worst probable time to fall off of the mech, since it goes into this invulnerable stage and is able to run at us. We're gonna let it bounce, or we're gonna let it hit us, and so that it can run directly at the wall twice, since it charges exactly twice. Before continuing. Okay, well that time it was accidental damage, but we hide behind the between the legs to try and avoid damage as much as possible. We're going to shoot a Pokio after 3 bombs. Oh man, oh no. We're gonna panic a little bit and mess up the Pokio jump on top of the mech. Take some more damage. Try not to die. Keep the Pokio just for fun so that we can come over here and come on top of the mech and take care of. And take care of Harriet. Whew! Really had to focus there. Suboptimal mech fight, clearly. I fell off twice. But, a mech fight nonetheless. We're gonna see how the rest of this goes. Wow, my sum of best is 116.17. Interesting. Over the course of this particular run, I have improved my sum of bests by about 50 seconds. And you know what? It doesn't matter how good I do on Bowser's Kingdom and on Moon Kingdom. No poor performance could possibly take that away from me. So we're coming off with a big W this week regardless. We warp back to the Odyssey, and Cappy reminds us for the last time to slap us on top of that globe, which we happily oblige this time. Get ready for the split out of Bowser's Kingdom. As you can see, we are losing a little bit of time, which is interesting. I had a pretty unsuccessful mech fight, and we're only losing that much. I am pretty happy about that. So, we get ready for the split, which happens when the screen goes to black here. We lost 24 seconds, most of which were on the mech fight, but that leaves us a minute ahead of our personal best going into the final kingdom, which I will try not to squander this time around. If you were here last week, you would have seen I did squander a lead on my personal best, so we're going to see if I do so again. Time will tell. I'm going to try to relax, not let it bother me. No matter what happens, I gained almost a full minute on my sum of bests, which is something I can be happy and proud of. We won't talk about that. You're right. What last week did not happen. It is all in the past. I've practiced, and that practice, as you can see from the gold, has certainly shown through. I'm glad that, you know, a lot of the practice that I made was paying off. We're gonna capture this flag and then try and get some flowers. We tried for both flowers since it is the fastest way to come around and get to the Sphinx. But in lieu of that, we just get one, which still allows us to clear the gap and get over to the Sphinx, where we can try Sphinx, ooh. All right. We have a first try Moon Cave skip, which is very exciting, and will allow us to get into the final segments of the game rather quickly. By skipping the entire Moon Cave, which is a common speedrun strategy, you save a considerable number of minutes off of the run, which allows you to climb right up and get right to the Bowser fight. After 2 cutscene skips, we're going to have to get ready because he throws a hat right at you. We're going to take that hat back and try to smack him in the face with it. He jumps once, twice, and then 3 and 1 times. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. And similarly, he blows fire at you 3 times and then 5 times. All things to sort of keep in mind. And I'm always using motion control, as stated in Cloud Kingdom, to punch Bowser, because that is just a little bit faster than using the buttons themselves. I've screwed up my lineup just a little bit, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to try and force him over to that platform. I find the ones that are raised up higher than the other platforms, like the one he's currently on, are the easiest ones to line up the happy return. That was close. We missed it with Cappy originally due to the positioning so close to Bowser. But cutscene skip, roll over, cutscene skip, mash B to jump in the new scene, and then we're going to roll over to Bowser and Peach. And then we will be entering the final sections of the game. Which involve a long section where you control Bowser, controlled by Mario, since we have captured him, and go through the core of the moon, I suppose. We have succeeded in getting the jump here, which is always perfect. Oh, thank you, Biscuit. I appreciate it. We're going to try not to die twice during the 2D section. Might have spoken it into existence, but you know what? That's okay. Like I said, can't take those goals away from me. Alright, we have gotten through the 2D section without dying, which is a good start. We of course have to complete the rest of the section before we can call it a W. We've gotten to the final bit a bit quickly, which is good. It leaves us in a relatively good place here for the final room, where we will start by shooting a bunch of fireballs at the pillar to our right in hopes to take some damage against it, or give it some damage. Because each pillar needs 5 hits in order to down it. Any damage we take is pretty much inconsequential, since we start with 6 health and have pretty much not a whole lot to do with it. We're just going to line up and catch the pillar with a bunch of fireballs. Mistime that just slightly, but are able to come to the central platform here. Hit this moon rock here to unleash this wire, which we will jump into, and motion control to leave while I prepare the split. And we get a gold moon to get a personal best by over 1 minute. As you can see, my sum of bests actually has also gone down by about 1 minute. So all in all, we call that a pretty good run. 1:18:07 before retiming. That is going to be a considerable personal best. While this lovely cutscene runs here, I'm going to go and look up what the what position this will get me on speedrun.com. Let's see, Super Mario Odyssey. Yo, what is up, Mr. Krabs? You've come as I've just gotten a personal best in Super Mario Odyssey. A 1:18:07 before retime, of course. GG, thank you. I appreciate that strongly. We're very excited. I'm looking up right now where that puts me on the leaderboard while you watch the final moments of the game here. Let's scroll down. 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 7 seconds will put me in about 1,306th place, which is a considerable improvement over my previous position, which was 1,448th. At least more moments. Man, Mr. Krabs, I feel that this is my first personal best in I think about 2 months. But hey, it's all a process. It's all about learning the strats. It's about improving your game, and any particular tied for 230. Whoa, 238th place. My goodness, you are considerably better at the game, I would probably say, than me. If you had seen the particular run, man, yeah, 103. That is insane. I wish you all of the best in working to achieve your goal. That is absolutely, well, one, an incredible time at all. And the fact that you're even pushing for it, hey man, kudos, because that is incredibly difficult to do. Close that anytime soon. That might be true, but it's all a process. I believe in you for what it's worth, and I thank you, and Biscuit, you as well, for tuning into my stream today. I will be calling it quits. Definitely can't go up from what I've achieved today. Have an absolutely stellar day, and I will catch you potentially next week.